This is the Transparency Podcast Show.
So actually, I forgot to ask you, do we call you Daniel Stone? What's your name now?
Well, people do like calling me Danny. So,
Danny?
a friend, you
Danny
way
for
matter.
sure.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I will take Danny.
Okay. All right. So Danny, welcome to the show. Yeah, so this is gonna be more like a informal, casual conversations show. First thing first, let's talk about how we met.
Sure. So, shall I start or should you?
Huh?
Shall I start or should you?
Oh, well, we can both start. So we actually met through a film project, right? A school film project with Cecil.
Carrie Cecil, yeah, I
Yes,
remember.
and she was working on a short film called Journey, right?
The journey, right?
Yeah, and I play one of the supporting girl, and you're the
Supporting
supporting leads for the um yeah. So that was a fun experience, and maybe we'll include the. I don't know if she still have that video on YouTube. We can
So that's from what I know.
Yeah, so we can link that on in the show notes so people can see. Yeah.
Definitely.
And then from that we adventure extend our friendship, or what do you call it? Or you want to call it as a professional
At,
into other
at
things.
that time, our policy is still professional because we got close like after that, a little after, So yeah. But with that being said about being on Carrie Cecil's film, that was their first film working with her, but for me it was actually my second. But the
Mhm.
first was more of a like just a side support thing. It wasn't never officially released. It was just for our grade. But the one that we did together, the journey, that wasn't actually officially released for like screenings and stuff. And from what I remember, it did. I think it won best transgender film. I forgot what awards it got, but it did receive I think like two or three, which I'm
Yeah,
very proud of. I'm very proud of
and
him.
I think the part of the footage was it got used in one of the music video too. I forgot what
Did
is.
I know about that? No. Did it?
Yes, it did. You
No, I
didn't
had
know?
no. Didn't know.
Oh my god.
No.
Okay.
It probably wasn't my scene. That's probably I got used.
I don't remember, but maybe if I found it, I'll include the link to.
Oh, please, that's it. I want to see it. Yeah. So
And
but like oh yeah, you can go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, it's okay. So I was gonna say, so from that we work again together in my film LGBT Love Stories.
Right. From
Yes,
there we
yeah,
right.
and how funny that both projects we never in the movie we never have any
Interactive. I know it's
we
funny.
never
Yeah,
have
we want to
any
and everything.
exchange, huh? Is that how?
It's true. Like we were really friends at that point, and we were like keeping in touch on social media. But then, yeah, when it came to the actual film, we didn't like directly interact with each other. Yeah, it's funny. But that happens all the time, so that's nothing new in the film industry. But yeah, it is funny though. Yeah.
Yeah, so we didn't have any interaction in the film.
But of course, behind
Outside,
the scenes, right, there was, but
yeah, but
not on.
outside of the film, we are kind of like talking on and off all this time,
Right, right.
right? Yeah. So tell, t- I never really asked you. So how was your experience working for the LGBT love stories?
It was very.
Honestly.
No, honestly, it was a good time because it was my first. That film was my first feature film because I'd
Ah,
done like three, 4 shorts before that. Oh, I forgot to tell you this because we like we just mentioned we met through Carrie
mm,
Cecil, but I actually met her from a project before that. There was a guy, I remember his name, Jimbo Bowen. He was the creator and director of that film. It was another transgender short film, but he was
mm,
director, and Carrie played a support in that film. And that's how I met Carrie. And then from there, I did Carrie's films, and that's how I met you. So I kind of had a few experience with short films by that point. By that point, I think I already done like four, like
mm.
back to back in that year. It was a very good year for me for bookings. But and then, so I was already familiar with short films, and LGBT Love Stories was definitely different for me because it was my first feature film, first full length project. So I was very proud of it, and it
Thanks.
was a different experience, and it was hella fun. I mean, I'd be lying if I said it was 100% perfect. There was drama on set, of course, from one of the actors, which I'm not gonna mention the name, and I was mentioning but their name, but like you probably remember what I'm talking about. But there was drama, be unneeded drama, I might say, be
Mm,
and not at my fault. I want to add, but yeah. But other than that, I had a great time. Just getting to the locations alone was fun because even though I have been to Long Beach, because I know one of the scenes was in Long Beach, especially the nightclub scenes, right?
mm,
Um, Long Beach, of course, I've been to Long Beach because I'm in Bolinas, so around the areas all the time. But it was a while that I was in Long Beach. I think it was like a couple of years, so especially in that area, so it was very nice to go back to it. And though I've been familiar with that area, it was my first time actually going to that club, the Executive Suite. I've never been there,
hey, it's
so it
still
was
there.
it was
It's still
very
there.
fun.
It's
So
10 years ago already. And
I'm
it's
glad
not,
it's still there.
nothing changed. Same,
Uh,
same Lakers store next door. Remember
oh,
we
yeah,
had a
yeah. I have a
right
funny
under
story
the
about that.
Laker sign, right? So
Right, I have a funny story about that'll make good that'll be good for the podcast. But do you remember when it was the very first day of shooting, and because I remember the very first scenes we did, I think no, it wasn't Executive Suite, it was in Culver City for the diner scene.
yeah,
That was the shooting, but I remember next to, and if Michelle's gonna watch this later, hi Michelle, I love you. Um, her diner, S&W Country, it's the S&W Country Diner, right? If I remember.
SW.
Um,
Yeah.
S&W, yeah, just, giving her diner some props because she is excellent food.
Hmm.
But yeah, I remember there was a bar right next to her diner, and because it wasn't open yet, I arrived like half hour early. So I was like, well, I'm gonna have a drink.
You did.
I did, and I remember, and I still remember the name because it was named after that song. Because it was a big hit song at that time, "Summertime Sadness." I remember, I forgot who sang that song,
Hmm.
but yeah, they named it after that song. I was like, "Oh, I'll take this," because I don't drink much. So I don't know my liquor, so I didn't know what to order, so I just ordered that because the name. So I ordered a drink, and it sucks because right when I order it, it's like you're not almost ready to shoot. I'm like, oh, I didn't drink anything, and it cost me like 15, 20 bucks. Yo, I drink.
So you did drink, huh? I didn't know that.
Didn't drink at all. I did. I was just about to. They just
Because
literally served me the drink. They're like, oh, here you go, it's ready. And the round about the drink, you text it, like, oh, we're ready to shoot. And I'm like, oh, God. I'm like,
because
this
I
might.
think I came a little bit late. Late.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And I was like,
Yeah.
it was kind of, but yeah. And speaking on drinking, the scene that we did later, I think it was like maybe a week or two. I forgot when the time was, the gap between the filming for the diner scene and the executive club scene. What was that, like 2 weeks later? I don't remember,
Mm,
but
the shoe was very quickly. I believe we finished within 10 days, 10 to 14 days.
oh yeah,
So,
for the G. Oh
so
yeah,
it
for the
must
G
be
section,
within two
a few
weeks
days.
for sure.
I think it was like 3 or 4 days. But anyway, that part doesn't really matter. But I remember when we shot that scene. I don't know if you remember, but they surprised us. The guy that owned the bar, the nightclub, I forget his name, but he was a very
Who?
sweet
You
guy. But
mean executive suite?
yeah, the owner. I remember when we shot the scene.
Yes.
Obviously in the scene we're drinking, right? And
Yes.
but the thing is that the drinks were supposed to be real, obviously, because if it's real, then you get
Oh yeah, I remember that. He gave
work.
he gave you a real drink.
They gave us a real drink because they wanted the reaction to be real. So they surprised us, and it was actually real. Because when we tasted it, we went like, like we made that face of
That
like,
that's actually well, now I can say that's actually Touch Brendan's idea.
wow, really? It was supposed to be my idea,
Yes,
especially for
his idea,
Joe.
not the club owner. Is
Oh, okay. But you know what? But the reaction was priceless. I'm especially Joe. Oh my god, I still remember Joe Jenkins. He was a really good guy. I liked him. His reaction was the best out of all the four of us. His reaction was the best, and I was like, that's the shot that we don't need to do this again because Joe, because he didn't know, so he drank it. He said like, oh, like wow, because it was strong and it was funny. Oh my gosh, I mean that was a good moment. That's probably the best moment I had shooting because that was so fun. Um, but yeah, that was a good surprise. I like that.
yeah. So let's give our audience and listeners a little insight.
Oh,
So we
sure.
are planning to release the film on the streaming
Really?
platforms. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yes, I hope because this is something that we've always wanted,
Um,
and it's finally
and
happening.
I again, I want to just say this out here on this show. I really appreciate and feel grateful and blessed for everyone who is involved because I was, my first film. So everyone trusting in me, and I been through a lot, and I come to a realization that it's not about me anymore. It's everyone who's involved. And unfortunately, there are some people who's involved is no longer with us. That's very sad. So I want to, say their names on the show. Um, the house party scene is our
Mhm.
dear friend Don. He provided his house, and we shot few scenes in that house, not just the parties, not just the house party. I believe what's the character's name with Nikki?
Oh, Tomas,
Nikki list.
Nikki Tomas, right?
Yeah,
Oh, you mean
Nikki. No,
yeah?
not Tomas. The other one.
Well, no. Well,
I
the one that played Nikki, his character's name was Jerry, I think.
Yeah, Jerry. So Jerry's his his own house scene, and then Tomas and the boyfriend, when they have that sliding door scene. That's all at Dawn.
Oh, William. Oh, I love you, William. William, you roll everybody. He's living that
Yeah,
awesome. He's doing good. He's getting a lot of bookings. I've seen him on
yeah.
TV.
And second person I want to mention is my friend Kurt. He kind of like he kind of like a part of the producer. He back in the hotel scene that I was in with the character Jack, the hotel scene, and also some of the equipment in the post production that he also been part of it. And last but not least, I'm gonna have to insert this person's name. My memory's bad, but it's a scene photographer, which is, remember we did some trailer before we actually filmed the film.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah, and
demo
then
trailer.
Touch Brendan has a friend that he came in to do some photos. And I just found out that he passed during COVID, and wow, and he's so young. My gosh, yeah.
How old was he when he passed?
Hmm?
How old was he when he passed?
I believe he's only in his 30s. Yeah. So these people are the one that I know. I know there's few. Dan Satter, I haven't heard from him for a while, and then there's one that who did interview of me. His name is John. I don't want to butcher his last name, but the one who interviewed me because of the film, he's no longer with us as well. Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to depressing everyone, but I'm just want to mention these people.
Right.
Made me come realize I owe to those everyone.
Right.
And I don't want them, I want them to able to see it, enjoy the fame while they're still alive. So
Right.
that's why after 10 years, I still want to put it out. And I believe the timing is very right now because the content,
Yeah,
the storyline, it's kind of reflect to what we're currently facing in the
it's still
politics,
relevant.
so yeah. So thank you. And you're the biggest supporter, I have to say,
Thank
because
you. You got
you always kind of keep me accountable, push me. So that's good. Yeah. Um, so we're gonna switch the topic a little bit. So hopefully when we have that movie out, please come support us, support the film,
please,
support
guys.
everybody, all the crews, all the actors that's involved. So now let's talk about your personal life.
Well, they put it on was asked.
Yeah, so as we know, LGBT Love Stories, I want to have everyone, cast, crew, has a little bit, I mean, cast, crew from the community, LGBTQ community. So as you part of the gay community, you want to share, we're gonna, because we had a call, phone call just a couple of days ago, and I think it's a good topic for a podcast. So because I know gay community has come a long way, and the society has more acceptance compared to trans community right now, or even lesbians. So how's your dating life scene as a gay person right now?
That well, if it's just right now. I mean, it's really no different than how it started because it's still a mess. It always was a mess. And I do have to say, of course, you can never be sure because I was never on the other side. I wasn't straight at any point.
Mm,
I would just say that since the beginning, since I started dating until now, it's always been a mess for me, and I think it does have to do with my sexual orientation.
mm,
Because in my opinion, I think it's so much easier if you're heterosexual because if you see the opposite sex, let's say they're walking on the street and they're attracted to you, and you just want to get to know them, or whatever, and you say hi and you start talking. They won't get the wrong idea if the opposite sex. But if it's the same sex, if it's a
yeah.
man to a man or a woman to another woman, they're like, "Oh, I'm not gay," or it's like you don't have that certainty that they are. Especially now that there's a lot of gay men that are masculine. I think that
Yeah.
stereotype has changed a lot because back then it seems like more gay men were more feminine, at least in my opinion, from what I've seen.
Mm,
And now much more men are coming out since it's like being more accepted that you said, and it's like all these men that are like that look totally straight. You weren't expecting to be gay at all. Like they're gay too, and it's like so now it's even I think trickier to
uh-huh.
find a man was then because you can't be sure they're gay or not because it's like every type of man seems gay now. So that alone was difficult for me to find a date. Or to find anyone. So I ended up developing a bad habit of trying to date online, which is even
Mm,
worse because
okay.
you can print see anybody online and they say who they are, and a lot of bad things can happen, and it can also be a very dangerous,
Yeah.
um, a
So
dangerous
so in
thing.
your dating, so on your personal dating experience, do you prefer online or in person right now at this
At
moment?
this point, I wish it could be in person because it's just been online. I mean, it's always been online for me because I never had that luck of meeting anyone outdoors,
Mm,
just by surprise in person. Generally, it's just I never had that luck.
yeah.
So always was resorted limited to online. So that's all I know. And so I'm growing, honest, I'm growing sort of tired of that. So I wish it could be.
So you prefer dating in person now, right?
I
And
wish, I wish it could. I'm not doing it, but I wish it would be that way. Yeah.
oh, so if you, let's say, if you were dating online, which platform or apps would you go on?
Well, of course, granted, 'cause that's the most popular one, so that's the first place you would look.
Um,
I mean, I have friends tell me about other ones like Adam for Adam or Gruff or other ones, but they don't seem as active and they're not as popular. So,
mhm,
and from my experience, I don't see any difference because they're claiming that supposedly more decent men are on there, but yet I see the same faces on there that are on Grindr. So, I
um,
don't think it's any different. Yeah.
yeah, because
So
I
I
personally, I never been on Grinder, so I don't know. So is there a lot of trans people on Grinder too?
There is surprisingly. There wasn't before. I've been on and off for Grinder for like what, eight
Mm-hmm.
and a half years now, and probably like half of that time, there wasn't a lot of transgenders on there. And I
Mm-hmm.
noticed like increasingly, like the past maybe 3 years at least, it's been major. Not only has there been a major increase in trans um, men or women, either way. But there's a lot of awareness of men actually being attracted or wanting to hook up with a trans on there. So
Are they sexually identify themselves as gay men or?
that's the part. Where, yeah, this will make a good topic for next episode. There's probably a lot to talk about. I could probably take up a whole episode. A lot of the men on this seem pretty close to what the purpose is. They still consider themselves straight or bi.
Oh,
So they want to hook up with a transgender man or woman. It doesn't matter to them. Yet they consider themselves bi or straight, which I or not gay at all. So that, I still find that quite bizarre. That's the one issue that I have with that, or
yeah.
what I
Well,
see.
my personal experience is, I think, because I came across a lot of mainstream people, and I think from my perspective, I think they mixed up with sexuality and gender identity because to me, because I identify myself as a woman, but but a lot of people don't realize that a trans woman can be sexually attracted to men or women or trans men or all. You know what I mean? So, but then let's say if just a man who's found me attractive, I think they are, especially the mainstream one, they are very afraid of going, forward. Like there's a barrier they don't cross because I think they're afraid that people might say, might start saying, might start thinking they're gay and they don't want to.
Right,
But
right.
but
Problem with that, because why are they so concerned about that? They don't have a problem with it. They wouldn't be concerned. So there's an issue there definitely with themselves. Yeah.
society, I think, is another thing, right?
That's another thing, right? But the thing is that you shouldn't care about society. It's your life. You want,
Yes.
especially nowadays, be more accepting. It's like, who cares? They're gonna like it. Some are gonna like it. Some are not gonna like it. But at least more people are more willing to accept it now. So why not just,
Yeah.
you know?
So from my personal experience, the guys who already been through all that internal struggle of themselves, they already overcame that barrier. But the problem is, let's say,
All those things.
as a transgender community as a whole, we have, how do you say, we have more trans women who attracted to men, way more racial than men in the community. The men. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
because and most of them are older generations. Because, like I said, I guess older people, they already experience it all, so they don't,
They want to try something
excuse
new.
me,
Yeah.
my language, they don't give a shit. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes total sense. I agree.
Yeah. So, but when I started dating outside of the community, the mainstream guys, they are more like you said, curious in a sense,
Correct.
or now I heard they say they call more fetish, which I'm not interested in
Right.
that. Curious is okay, meaning they're maybe exploring, but the
But
fetish,
curious, that's the part I'm confused. Curious can sort of mean fetish, though, no? Because it's, well, yes and no.
yeah.
Because curious, like you don't know about it yet, but you want to know, and a fetish means that you're already familiar with it, but it's still like something that you would just do like in bed, not like something in general. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
So
But
I
it's, I
think
don't
I don't know. To me, fetish is more porn-ish,
I you
and
could say that. You could,
and
yeah.
and
But I don't,
by curious, just like the movie we have, LGBT Love Story. You mentioned Jack's character is more he just exploring, find out what's going on to about himself. Yeah. So I think fetish is more pornish. They don't really care. It's more like, you know,
depending
one
on
time
what it
thing.
could be, that could not. I think that's something that depends on how one thinks
Does,
about that.
does,
That one I need to be open minded about. It could be porn
does
for me.
that does that happen to gay community? You have some people are more fetish and more curious, or they just start coming out.
Yeah, of course. I think all elements of the LGBTQ community is has their own fetishes. Like, for example, when it comes to the transgender community, it seems to be more the bisexuals that have that fetish for trans. Where
Mhm.
gay men, in my experience, were more into more cock size and big butts. So and then lesbians, like, well, I don't know, I'm not a lesbian, but I assume it would be something about the vagina or boobs. I don't
I don't
know.
know.
Yeah, so I think every element corresponds to each element of the LGBTQ community. That definitely makes sense. So I would say yes, especially in my experience with the gay community. There definitely is a different fetish with gay community than transgender or bisexual.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I found this just my personal experience. I found out um, I never attracted to people who sexually identify themselves as gay. I never attracted to them, or vice
yeah.
versa. Yeah, I don't know. It's just my personal experience.
In my
So
opinion, yeah, it makes sense though because it's like if you're transgender a woman.
yeah, a
If you
woman.
want a man that wants a woman, even though it might be a transgender woman, still it's a woman nonetheless. So it's like but I do understand the barrier there that it would be hard to cross with the fall for a gay guy because he would be into a
So
transgender man or a man or a
do you
genuine
think
man. Yeah.
maybe how male is more visual person when they see things or or interested in certain things like even in cars like objects, right? They're more visual.
That's definitely a stereotype because
So,
I can tell you myself because I'm a gay man and I'm not interested in cars at all. I don't care for
no, but you know what I mean. Like men are visual. So if whoever see me just visually, they
I would
they probably
say
not gonna, let's say gay men probably won't find me attractive because I'm
it would definitely
I'm
it would definitely
girly girl. So
it depends. It depends. I think if you were still a transgender woman, but like a tomboyish transgender woman,
yeah,
maybe
maybe.
gay man would find you attractive. But since you're like a girly girl transgender type woman, then it would make sense for only like a bi-curious or a straight man to be attracted to you. But I'm not sure since I'm not transgender. I didn't experience that for myself. But if you're open minded to that subject, it would make sense that it would turn
Yeah,
out that way. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
And if I'm more tomboyish, maybe lesbian girl or like tomboyish too.
Then probably like a gay man would be attracted to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, more likely.
So
Yeah.
my point is, like the mainstream world kind of mix sexuality and gender identity together.
Label.
Yeah,
Yes.
labels together, and also like drag queens, drag queen. Have you been do drag before? I never asked you.
Done drag,
Have
not
you ever
full drag.
done?
I just put on like makeup, but I never put on a dress or heels.
Oh,
Not that I wouldn't. Not that I wouldn't. I just never have. But if I had, it would just probably be for work purposes. I probably wouldn't do it
mm,
just for like a hobby
exactly.
or.
Yeah.
But
So the mainstream thinking, drag queen, those people, those performers on stage is they associate that as a transgender people. So
and actually, you know what? That disappoints me because it's not the same thing. A lot of people
yeah,
need to bring awareness on this. Drag and transgender is not the same thing.
yeah,
You know, drag is just overnight. It's temporary. It's not,
it's an
and
art.
but trans is something that you want to make permanent. That you
Yeah.
actually would describe yourself as only as one thing, and that both. It's totally different. But people still are ignorant to that
Hmm.
concept now. They still think that it's similar. It's not. It's completely
Right.
the opposite. Different. I don't even have to be drag or transgender to know that. Just being in the LGBT community alone, I know that it's
Mm,
obvious. In my opinion, it's obvious. It's two different things.
yeah. So have you? I personally never haven't had any non-binary friends, like close, like friend. Have you
What
come across
we
anybody
mean?
identifying as a non-binary?
Well, from you know what? Not really. Of course, I if I do have friends, they mostly categorize as either lesbian or gay, not like
Mm, okay.
binary. I'm not sure if like their image or I mean, of course, I've talked to people like that, but me actually having friends that describe binary, no. I don't
Mm,
know why. I'm not. I don't know why it just hasn't worked out that way. I just never met and became friends with a binary person. But I'm
well,
definitely open.
I think
Yeah,
oh, I think they're younger generation that there's a
I
lot.
noticed. I noticed that yes,
Yeah.
just like the older generation seems to be the ones mostly into transgender. Yes, yes. Yeah, I don't. I guess it's just the whole generation gap thing. Like you say, I think the reason why a lot of older people accept trans is because they tried it all already. They tried straight, they tried gay, they tried lesbian, now they want to try trans. And I think with binaries, because they're so young, they have yet to experience everything, so they're still labeled and limited, and they think that they want to be that way now, but they not might be sure later. So it
Hmm.
does make sense that mostly young are binary. I have noticed that. It's definitely true. Yeah, it
Hmm.
is.
So how's your dating life right now? Are you looking, searching,
Well,
single, ready to mingle?
this is something that I'm not afraid to say at all right now because I know he's gonna see this because I'm gonna share it to him and I know he's gonna watch it. But there's this guy that I'm seeing. I don't want to mention his name, but he knows who he is. He's a handful. He's a. I don't want to put too much of his business out there. Wouldn't be
Oh
right
yeah.
because he from what I know from his friends, he speaks good of me. So I don't I don't
Oh,
want to like um. So I'll just say that he's a good guy. He's the
okay.
problem is just that he's accepting less or doing less and he has potential he shouldn't have to be doing that so there's been sort of a lot of disagreements about that and that's why right now we're sort of
Oh.
butting heads and arguing but other than that if it wasn't for that issue we would be great.
Mm.
But that's pretty much what's going on but I am looking but right now I just want one I want a
Um,
monogamous relationship because
so
I've like I said, I've been on and off grinder for 8.5 years. I'm tired of honestly, I'm tired
eight
of
and
sleeping
a half
around.
years. Wow. So
Eight and a half
my
years.
next question was gonna ask is, let's say if somebody watching this or listening to this and they have
Mhm.
interested to contact you, where should they? How should they contact you?
Well, leave
I'm
my
I'm
email.
I'm pimping you out right now.
Well, thank you, Mr. Man. Just leave my email, the same email that we're using for the Zoom meeting. Just put that in the description, and yeah.
Oh, your email. Okay, I see.
That is it, yeah.
So, do you have a particular type?
Oh yes, definitely. I'm into white guys and Hispanic guys. Um,
Mm, okay.
and it
Age?
yeah,
How about age?
age sort of middle aged. I don't like them young because I feel like in my experience they're just immature
Uh-huh.
and I don't have time for that. And then people my age I feel like it's competition. So
Competition.
and the reason why I say that is because you grow up in the same place, like the same generations. So we have to be older, slightly older, 40s, maybe even 50s. I might even date a 60-year-old if he still looks good. Like he still has like hair and everything, like in
Mm,
shape, like muscle. Then I would. But if it's just yeah. Other than that, no. I'll probably say maybe 50ish. Is probably like my highest that I would date.
mm.
Yeah.
So let's say, like for most trans girl who dates men, straight men, we tend to like to be treated as all kinds of, all the girls. So we like romantic dinner, gentleman, act and stuff. So what about you guys? Like, do you guys, when you guys go out on a date, do you express yourself on
You
the
mean you mean like differently, like towards guy towards a transgender?
restaurants or
Oh, what do we
public
do?
places?
Oh, well, you know what? Honestly, Shelby, especially since I online date, it seems like our men's want to just have That's what they want. They don't care about
Um,
going out and snuggling and all that. They don't. And if you do, they think you're weird for it, and they don't want to like hook up with you anymore.
yeah.
So that's why I said it's a very dangerous, toxic lifestyle because you ended up getting addicted to that by force because that's all you can find, and then it becomes a trap. And that's pretty much what happened to me. I used to be this innocent little. When we were filming LGBT Love Stories, I was still a virgin. Okay, and
No
then I
way.
last time,
Are you
yes,
serious?
I was.
So the line in the in the film is for true.
That was my
Oh
borderline
my god, I didn't know that.
because I know right because I lost it the next year, so that was like my last year
Wow.
being a virgin. But because that movie
Yeah,
did
I
help me
remember
break out of
you.
my
You
shell.
still a virgin? I'm not
Well,
surprised. That's the line.
oh, I think I did mention that to you during that. So you probably forgot, but no. What happened was that's why I have so much passion for LGBT love stories because that movie got me out of my shell.
Oh,
That Yeah, it got me out of
cool.
my shell, and that's why I started dating in the first place. I mean, of course, I was attracted to men, but of course, and I was openly gay and all that, but I just wasn't really. I was still shy,
Hmm.
and that in return made me limited in wanting to do anything, have any
And
lifestyle,
yeah.
in the game. But that movie brought me out of my shell,
Mm.
and I started dating, and fast forward 8.5 years later, actually, I won't say fast forward. There was one important thing that led me to this point. A friend, and the reason why I quote is because that's not a real friend. Because if you're a real friend, you won't recommend grinding to someone.
Correct.
I'm here to tell everyone now. If you haven't tried grinding yet, do not. I
Okay.
tell you, good conscience, do not try grinding. It will mess you up if you stay on there for a
Wow.
long
Not
period of time, like I
bad.
have.
Okay.
Even if it's just for a short period, it will still mess you up because people are just rude on there. Anyway, somebody recommended it to me, right? And I went on there and I was never the same. I'm tampered with, I think, for life. It's permanent. Because, like I said, all I could find on there was men that wanted to have sex. They didn't want to date. They didn't want to just be friends. They just want to have sex. So that's all I could find. So eventually I broke down and I did that. And then honestly, it became like a drug. I became addicted to it. And that's all I did. But then fast forward 8.5 years later, I'm proud to say that I become monogamous earlier this year.
Hmm.
It took a lot of effort and prayer and strength of people praying for me, but I finally broke out of that barrier. I'm no longer sleeping around. I'm not doing that. And I'm very proud to say that I'm
Okay.
not, and it took a lot of hard work, but yeah, that's what's going on with me now. The guy that I'm seeing, I'm monogamous with him, and he helped me become that way because I don't know, just after everything that happened to me with the fire earlier this year, and it just obviously caused a lot of stress for me and didn't want to make me. I was just so focused on recovery, I didn't have time to like date or go on grind and stuff like that. So that actually helped me. That nightmare actually good came out of it because it that helped me ended up becoming monogamous. So like
Yeah.
they say, everything happens for a reason. I'm a big believer in that, and that's proof of that right there. Sometimes bad things will come bring good to you later.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
earlier when I asked you about that question about, you know, let's say going on a restaurant, I I just had this thought. Let's say if I went on a date and the guys are okay to, act like a gentleman, like a date, but let's say compared to, let's say, a gay couple or gay date, I don't think you guys do that much, right? Like really show affections in a public setting in a restaurant. So
None of
don't you find that's kind of interesting? Like the men I date, they okay to show that, but when it comes to want to become official, they got coffee or they backed out. But
actually,
but
I get what you I'm not. I don't find that surprising at all because the same thing happens in the gay world, not just
yeah.
transgender. That's why I mentioned the whole hookup thing on Grindr. Guys only want to hook up. If it does come to the point where you become friends and say you can become fuck buddies or whatever, or you whatever you want to call it.
Wow.
If you do get to that point, and
Mm.
you do start like going out like to eat and stuff, for some reason they still label it like they have a tendency to very strongly label it as we're just friends, okay? Like we fuck around, but still we're just friends. Just because we're going out to eat together doesn't mean we're dating, okay? Like it's like that. And
Oh.
the couple of guys that I did end up hooking up with for a while, that we did end up dating afterward, it never worked out because of that reason. We ended up breaking up because I'm like, what happened here? I thought we were just fuck buddies, or we were just friends now, but now we're like eating to going out together and watching movies together, eating. So yeah, and then they want to call it off, and
Oh, wow.
usually that happens on their end, not mine, and it will piss me off. I'm like, and that's why I got into that poisonous mind frame of it
Oh,
messed me up. It did. That's what I meant about the whole toxic thing. It messed me up mentally because of that. I was thinking because I started to take it personal. I was thinking, is it me? Is it because something wrong with me? And then
yeah.
it took me a while to figure out that it wasn't me at all. It was
Maybe
them.
it's just the nature of like this lifestyle.
Yeah, that or maybe they were insecure with themselves. Who knows? But I know I did not.
Mm,
I
I
maybe didn't some of them, but definitely not all. So yeah. Especially now that I'm way more mature than I was then. When I
mm,
started on Grindr, it's definitely not me now. It has to be on them because I'm way more patient now and open minded and all that. So
but thank you for sharing your dating experience, your filming experience, and hopefully when we have the movie out on streaming, you'll come back. Maybe we'll have
oh, definitely.
few of other you know co
I hope we
actors
can. I hope we can get
together.
William because I love him to death. I love William. Oh
Oh,
my god.
William, which
I
William?
hope we can get William. William Girola. Oh, 'cause there was two Williams. William
Yeah.
Chase. William Girola. But I like the other William too. William Chase Rain. I love him too. Um, I just don't talk to him as much as William Girola. But I hope we can get William Girola. I love him. Oh my god.
Yeah, we
Um,
will. We will get the gangster in the house.